The Girl on Mile 41. The Road That Eats Silence. I've worked night shifts most of my life. It messes with you in ways people don't talk about. Not the tiredness, you get used to that. It's the silence. The kind that feels like it's listening. I was a driver for a logistics contractor out in the rural part of the state. Long, empty highways. Gas stations that closed at 9 p.m. sharp. Miles of darkness so thick your headlights looked like needles and tar. My route was simple. Pick up crates at the depot, drive them to the distribution center across counties, come back before dawn. For nights a week. Nothing ever happened on that road. Until the night something did. It was early October. Cold enough for frost to sketch the windshield by midnight. I was about 2 hours into my shift, somewhere between mile 38 and 42, the loneliest stretch of the whole highway. No houses, no billboards, no cell signal, the kind of place where you start humming just to hear a human sound. I had just passed the rusted sign that said mile 41 when I saw her. A girl, standing on the shoulder, alone. At first, I thought she was just some teen who'd had a fight at home and ran out. But as my headlights crawled over her, something felt off. She wasn't waving. She wasn't walking. She was just standing there, facing the trees, like she was waiting for them to answer. I slowed down instinctively. Every driver has heard the horror stories. Traps, ambushes, decoys. But something about her stance didn't fit anything criminal. She looked frozen. Not scared, just lost. As I pulled over, she finally turned toward the road. That's when I saw her face. Pale, soft, young, maybe 19, 20. But her eyes looked older. Like someone who'd lived through a war nobody else saw. When she came closer, I lowered my window just a crack. "Are you all right?" I asked. She hesitated before speaking. "Can you take me home?" Her voice was gentle, almost whisper-like. But something in it made the back of my neck tighten. Not fear, something stranger. Like déjà vu from a dream I never had. "Where do you live?" I asked. She looked down the road, the opposite direction from where I was going. "Just ahead," she said. "On Hillside Lane." I frowned. Hillside Lane didn't exist. Not anymore. And I knew that because I'd lived here my whole damn life. "There's no Hillside Lane out here," I said carefully. "Hasn't been for years." "Maybe you mean, I know where my house is," she whispered. Then she looked at me with those two old eyes. "Please, I just want to go home." And I swear to God, I felt it. Not guilt. Not sympathy. Something far colder. Like the air itself bent inward, waiting for my answer. I unlocked the passenger door. "All right," I said. "Get in. I'll take you." And when she stepped into the truck, the temperature dropped like someone had opened a freezer. The road swallowed the sound behind us. And the girl didn't buckle her seatbelt. Didn't ask where we were going. Didn't even look ahead. She just stared out the window at the darkness and said, "I haven't been home in a very long time. The house that doesn't exist." The heater in my truck was on full blast, but the cabin felt like winter had seeped in through the seams. Not a normal cold, the kind that pinches your skin and makes your breath fog. This was a quiet cold. Heavy. Deliberate. The girl sat with her hands neatly folded in her lap, eyes fixed on the passenger side window. The lights of the dashboard painted her face in a soft amber glow, but she didn't seem to register any of it. She wasn't shaking, wasn't crying, wasn't confused, just waiting. I drove slowly, partly because the fog had thickened, partly because I was suddenly terrified to look away from her for too long. "Did your car break down?" I asked just to cut the silence. "No," she said. "Get lost hiking or something?" "No." "Did someone drop you off?" She hesitated just a flicker, but it was enough. "I walked." "From where?" Another pause. "Here." That didn't make sense. None of this did. But I bit my tongue. You do that on night shifts. The world looks different after midnight. So do people. If she was drunk, or high, or running from something, I didn't want to spook her into bolting out of the truck onto an empty highway. Still, something gnawed at me. "Hillside Lane," I said finally, trying not to sound accusatory. "That place burned down 20 years ago." I remember it. Big fire. 3 houses lost. They bulldozed everything after. She didn't react. It's gone, I added. There's nothing there anymore. Not for you, she whispered. That made my chest tighten. Before I could ask what she meant, she finally turned her head, slowly, and looked at me for the first time since she got in. Her expression wasn't sad, wasn't angry. It was hopeful. You'll see, she said. Once we're closer. A faint shape appeared in the fog ahead, the turnoff to the old hillside stretch. A gravel path, choked by weeds, marked with a rusted sign where the lettering had long peeled off. I didn't want to make that turn. God knows why, but every instinct in me screamed it. My fingers tightened on the wheel. My pulse climbed. But the girl's voice slipped into the air like a blade wrapped in silk. It's right there. And something inside me, curiosity, fear, or something deeper, made me turn the wheel. The truck rolled onto the dirt path. Instantly, the fog thickened behind us, sealing off the road. It felt like we weren't just driving into a place. We were driving out of the world. Trees leaned inward on both sides, their branches scraping the roof like fingernails. The headlights barely pushed through the haze. I recognized nothing, but the girl began to breathe deeper, slower, almost peacefully, like someone approaching their front porch. My house is the last one on the street, she murmured. There isn't a street, I said quietly. For you, she repeated. We drove another minute, maybe 2. Then up ahead something appeared in the fog. A shape, solid, still. A house, an actual house. Wooden siding, warm yellow lights glowing through the windows, smoke rising from a chimney.
Impossible. Utterly impossible.
I slammed the brakes without meaning to. My heart hammered, my brain scrambling to make sense of it. There were no houses here. Nothing had stood here for decades. But the girl let out a breath so soft, so full of relief, it chilled me deeper than the cold had. I told you, she whispered. I told you I'd find it again. And then she said something that made every hair on my arms lift. Don't worry. They won't be angry to see you. Who? She turned her head back to the glowing house. My family. Before I could respond, before I could even breathe, the truck engine sputtered, coughed, and died. Lights off, heater off, everything off. Like the darkness itself had swallowed the power. The girl slowly reached for the door handle. They've been waiting a long time. The family that shouldn't be there. The interior of the truck dimmed into a cold, moonless black. My breath turned visible in the air, each exhale sharp enough to sting my throat. The girl pushed the door open. Not fast, not slow, just like someone arriving home at the exact moment they were expected. I grabbed her arm gently, but firmly. Hold on, I said. I'm coming with you. Until that moment, she hadn't shown a single sign of emotion, but something flickered in her eyes now. Not fear, not surprise, recognition. You don't have to be afraid, she said softly. I'm not afraid, I lied. You are, she whispered. But that's good. Fear keeps you aware. Then she stepped out of the truck. The moment her feet touched the dirt, the fog receded from her like she was the center of a slow-moving tide. The air around her warmed. The house in the distance sharpened into clearer shape. I forced my door open. It was heavier than it should have been, like the cold had weight and followed. The silence was wrong. It wasn't the empty road at night kind of silence. It was the quiet you hear in a place that doesn't want sound. No insects, no wind, no distant hum of engines. Just the faint, steady crackle of the chimney fire from the house ahead. I stepped beside the girl. The dirt path beneath us looked fresh, like it had been walked on recently. Too recently. The weeds around it, though wilted, didn't rise high enough to hide footprints. There were dozens of them. Some small, some larger, all leading toward the house. None coming back. My stomach twisted. Are they alive? I asked. She tilted her head slightly, as if the question amused her. They're waiting, she said instead. That's not what I asked. They've always been here, she added softly. You just couldn't see them. A chill crawled slowly up my spine. The windows of the house glowed a warm yellow, too warm. Like the light inside wasn't from a bulb or a lamp, but from something alive. The front door stood slightly ajar, and someone was standing behind it. I saw the silhouette first, a figure tall enough to nearly fill the entire doorway. Shoulders broad, head slightly tilted, as if listening. But the moment I blinked, it was gone. The door eased open another inch. Come, the girl said. You said they won't be angry to see me, I murmured. Why would they be angry at all? Her answer was simple. Because last time you left, my blood froze in place. Last time? I had never been here in my life. I don't know what you mean, I said. But she only started walking toward the house. The fog parted for her, opening a clean path. For me, it clung to my legs, dragging at my steps. Every instinct I had screamed to run. Back to the truck. Back to the road. Back to reality. But something about the house, its warm lights, its impossible presence, pulled me forward, like gravity or guilt or something older. When we reached the porch, the boards beneath our feet creaked softly. The smell of burned wood and old pine filled the air. The girl paused and placed her hand on the door. They'll be happy this time, she said. Happy about what? That you finally came home. Before I could answer, before I could process the dread building in my chest, the door swung inward on its own. And there, standing inside the glowing room, was a man. His skin was pale. His clothes were old, decades old. His eyes were dark, hollow, like he hadn't blinked in years. But what made my heart nearly stop was the expression on his face. He was smiling at me, a slow, relieved, trembling smile. Son, he whispered, voice cracking. Welcome back. The girl stepped inside. I remained frozen on the porch. I don't know you, I said, voice shaking. But the man's smile deepened, grief and longing mixing in his expression. Yes, he murmured. You do. Behind him, more shadows were gathering in the warm light. Faces half hidden, eyes glinting, and all of them looked at me like someone returning after a lifetime away. The girl turned and gently took my hand. You can remember, she said, if you want to. The door closed behind us. The house that remembered me. His words didn't land hard at first. They slid into my ears like a quiet draft, like something meant for someone standing behind me. Son, welcome back. For a second I didn't react. My brain refused to connect the word son to me. It felt like he was speaking down a long hallway, calling to a memory instead of a person. But then he stepped forward. His face wrinkled, old but not weak. His eyes were glassy with something that hovered between grief and disbelief. His hands trembled, not with fear, but with recognition. Recognition of me. That's what made my stomach drop. Sir, I said carefully, stepping back. I think you're mistaking me for someone else. I'm just... You have her eyes, he whispered. My throat tightened. He didn't mean the girl. He wasn't looking at her at all anymore. He looked straight at me. The girl remained beside me, quiet, her gaze lowered like a child caught in a place she didn't belong. But the old man wasn't focused on her. Not even a little. He only saw me. You shouldn't have come back here, he said, voice breaking. Not like this. A cold ripple crawled up my spine. The girl's hand closed around my wrist. Her grip was soft but unshakably firm, like she'd been planning for this moment. Come inside, the old man said, opening the door wider. It's cold out. You don't have to pretend anymore. The girl tugged me toward the entrance. Gently, insistently. And I felt it then. The air inside the house was warm. Too warm for a house with broken windows. Too warm for a place that had been empty for 20 years. I froze at the threshold. The floor beyond the doorway was slightly dusty, but only in the shape of two sets of footprints. A man's, and a much smaller pair of bare feet. I don't know why, but the sight shook something inside my chest. The girl finally looked up at me. Her voice was barely a whisper. He doesn't see me. The old man didn't react. He didn't even turn his head. It was like she hadn't spoken at all. I leaned closer to her, my voice trembling. What do you mean he doesn't see you? You're right here. Her eyes filled with something like sadness, but deeper, older. He sees what he wants to see. Before I could ask more, the old man touched my shoulder. You look so tired, he murmured. Just sit. I'll make tea. Like before. Like before. That phrase echoed in my skull like a dropped coin rolling across a floor. I don't remember ever being here, I said. I've never met you. I've never. He turned sharply, his jaw tightening. Don't lie to me, he said. Not after what happened. Something inside the house shifted then. Not physically, emotionally. The air changed. The girl's grip tightened. I don't want to go in, I whispered, realizing it only as I said it. The girl looked almost disappointed. You have to, she said softly. It's the only way you'll see. See what? She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped inside first. Her bare feet didn't disturb the dust at all. No footprints. None. The old man didn't notice. My heart hammered so hard I thought it might burst through my ribs. I finally stepped inside. The living room was frozen in time. Everything dated. Old wallpaper curling at the edges. A lamp from the 70s. A couch covered with a hand-woven blanket. Faded family portraits on the wall. One in particular caught my eye. It was a photo of the old man. Much younger, smiling with his arm around a woman. Between them stood a boy, maybe 6 years old. The boy looked. I took an involuntary step forward. The angle of the jaw. The shape of the eyes. The unruly hair. It was me. No, it couldn't be. It made no sense. It was impossible. But the resemblance was horrifyingly precise. My breath shook. The girl appeared beside me without a sound. That's you, she said. It's not, I whispered, fighting rising panic. It was. The old man reappeared with 2 cups of tea. 2. He placed one in front of me, and one at the empty spot on the couch where the girl sat. Except in his vision, she wasn't there. He pushed the cup toward empty air and whispered, Drink, sweetheart. Not to me, to the spot where she sat. The girl didn't blink. She stared at the cup, then at me. He talks to me, she said, but he doesn't see me. My skin crawled. Then she leaned close, her voice barely breath. He sees the world the way he needs to see it, just like you do. Before I could respond, the old man suddenly gripped my hand. Tight, painfully tight. You can't leave again, he whispered. I won't survive it. I'm not your. You are. He cut me off. You always were. The girl watched us with an expression I couldn't decipher. Some mix of pity and warning. Why did you come back? The old man asked, voice breaking. After the fire. After we lost her. Why come now? Everything in the room seemed to tilt. Fire. Lost her. The girl lowered her head. I tried to find you, she whispered. But you were gone. Something inside my skull throbbed, sharp and electric, like a memory trying to surface. The old man's voice cracked. You died in that fire. Both of you. My heart stopped. The room seemed to collapse in on itself. I shook my head violently. No. Im aliva. I'm standing here. I'm. The girl reached out and gently laid her hand on mine. Her skin was ice cold. You didn't survive, she said softly. Not really. The walls around me flickered, just for a second, like the house itself exhaled. The old man sobbed quietly into his hands. The air grew darker, heavier, dense with something I didn't want to understand. Look at the picture again, the girl whispered. I slowly lifted my eyes to the portrait. 3 people. The father, the mother, the child. But as I looked, the picture shifted. Faint, subtle, but undeniably. The mother's face, burned at the edges. The boy's smile, warped into something sorrowful. And behind them, barely visible, a shadow. A girl's silhouette. The girl beside me. She leaned her head against my shoulder. We were looking for home, she whispered. My knees buckled. I understood then. Too late. Far too late. The night shift, the girl on the road, the missing house, the old man calling me son. I wasn't helping her find her home. She was helping me return to mine. The man's voice didn't echo in the hallway. It absorbed into it, like the walls had been waiting to hear it. I froze. My throat tightened so hard I could barely breathe. When he stepped forward, the light finally hit his face, and my knees nearly gave out. It wasn't just some stranger. It was the exact face from the photo I'd found on Evelyn's bracelet. Older, tired, eyes burned out from years of guilt. Her father, except he shouldn't have been here. He died in a house fire 20 years ago. At least, that's what every police report has said. He looked at me like a man waking from a coma, like he truly believed I was his lost son. Sir, I whispered. I'm not. He shook his head slowly.
No.
You are. Even if you don't remember. That's why she found you. Why she brought you here. My stomach twisted. Evelyn, I whispered. She's outside. She needs help. He cut me off. Evelyn died in that fire too. Everything inside me went numb. He stepped closer, calm, as if explaining the weather. She wanders the road each night, looking for home, looking for someone who'll guide her back. His eyes softened, painfully human. She chose you. The air thickened. My ears rang.
No. Y whisperat.
She was alive. She talked to me. I felt her. That's because she trusts you, he said. She's been waiting 20 years for someone who wouldn't run. Lightning cracked outside. The old building moaned. He lifted a shaking hand, placing something cold and metallic into my palm. Evelyn's bracelet. Help her rest, he murmured. Take her home. One last time. The hallway dimmed. His body flickered, like a candle about to go out. And then, he simply wasn't there. No sound. No steps.
No brace.
Just the empty corridor and the bracelet clutched in my trembling hand. I staggered outside. The storm screamed across the abandoned field. The road shimmered under the lightning. Evelyn, I shouted. My voice cracked. I didn't even know why. I just felt like she was listening. And she was. She stood at the edge of the road, hair whipping in the wind, dress soaked, eyes glowing with that same soft, broken hope. Did you find him? She asked quietly. I swallowed hard. My chest felt like it was cracking open. Yes, I said. He's waiting for you. Both of you. It's time to go home. Her hands shook as I slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. The moment the clasp clicked, the wind stopped. Completely. The storm froze in place. Her eyes lifted to mine. And for the first time, she didn't look lost. She looked relieved. Thank you, she whispered. Then she stepped back. Her silhouette blurred, split into two. A tall figure appeared behind her. Her father, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. They both smiled. And slowly, like fog under moonlight, they faded, leaving the field silent, leaving me alone, leaving nothing but the hum of my truck and the echo of a road finally letting go of its ghosts. I don't drive that route anymore. But every night, at 2:17 a.m., the bracelet I kept in my glove compartment rattles softly, like fingers brushing it. A reminder. Some passengers aren't looking for a ride. They're looking for a way home.